welcome to the ICT Pulse podcast. I'm Michelle Marius, your host and the editor and publisher of ICT Pulse, the online platform where we discuss ICT issues from a Caribbean perspective. Welcome to another episode in our Know Your Neighbors series. Today we'll be discussing Haiti. Globally, Haiti is known for the adversity it has experienced for decades and is considered one of the poorest countries in the Americas. However, even in the midst of its challenges, ICT has taken root in Haiti. And noting some of the initiatives and experiences that have been occurring there, Haiti may become a true demonstration in the Caribbean region of a country in which ICT is driving its economic and social development. One of the people who has been helping to shape the ICT technology landscape in Haiti is Max Larson Henry. Max wears several hats, including president of the ICT Association of Haiti, vice president of the Internet Society chapter in Haiti, and project coordinator of the Latin America and Caribbean Network Information Center, LATNIC. He's also the CEO of Transversal, a tech firm that is based in Haiti and the United States. Through this conversation with Max, we hope to get a better understanding of, among other things, what the ICT space in Haiti is like, what are some of the ICT-related trends and opportunities that are occurring there, and a few tips about the Haitian psyche and business culture for those who might wish to do business there. Max, welcome to the ICT Pulse podcast.
Good morning, Michelle, and I'm so excited to be part of the ICT Pulse edition, and thank you for having me.
Most welcome. Okay, so I guess as has been our practice, can we just start with a quick overview of Haiti for those who might not be just fully aware of some of the basic information, statistics on Haiti?
So Haiti is based in the Caribbean. We share an island with the Dominican Republic, and our population is a very young population of 11 million in total. We speak French and Creole. 100% of the population speak Creole and French. The Creole is like our native language.
And I guess what is the economy like? What is the emphasis of the economy?
The economy is mostly agriculture. We have been trying to develop very hard the textile industry as well. So we have a lot of textile facility in the capital, Port-au-Prince, in the north and the northeastern region. I would say those are the most important part of our economy in terms of exportation. We do export a lot of mangoes as well to the US and to Europe.
Okay. So let's focus now on telecommunications and ICT. So how developed is that sector in Haiti?
I would say that the last 5 years we have seen a boom in the telecommunication sector with two interesting development. The first one is that the incumbent has been acquired by a Vietnamese company, Vietel. So the new venture now is Natcom. They are the number 2 internet service provider in Haiti, and the first one is Digicel. Both companies have been developing their national infrastructure consisting primarily with optical fiber and for a small portion wireless as well. And we have a third operators offering internet service in Haiti, Access Haiti. So all those three companies account for more than 95% of the internet market in Haiti. In terms of international infrastructure, we rely on two undersea fiber in the Port-au-Prince area. Landing stations are in the Port-au-Prince area, in the Port-au-Prince Bay, and in Calico, which is located 50 kilometers from Port-au-Prince, and one terrestrial fiber connecting Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So that's how we get to we connect to the internet. And for now, the service are available are fiber to the home, mostly in the capital city of Port-au-Prince and the biggest cities such as Cap-Haïtien, Gonaïves, and Lekay, and also wireless services.
Understood. So in terms of, let's start with mobile, because I gather that similar to most Caribbean countries, the mobile service is probably the most widespread, and people from even your lower socioeconomic bases have been able to probably acquire that service. So what do you think is the penetration of mobile service in Haiti? What percentage of the population do you think has access to that service?
So today we have between 60 to 70% people having access to mobile services in Haiti from the two operators that I mentioned, Digicel and Natcom.
Okay. And in terms of even now going to mobile broadband, because since now 60% of the population has a mobile phone, to what degree is mobile broadband available, and do you think people have been taking that up? So in terms of a way of connecting to the internet.
So mobile broadband is that they still have a lot of room for progress, for improvement, I would say. So if we look at the internet penetration in Haiti, today is around 15%. And that means even though in terms of cellular phone penetration, we have done a lot of interesting progress, but in terms of internet penetration globally, we need to do more. And we can discuss on challenges in terms of infrastructure and also cost of the services, right. But the reality is what it is today.
Understood. And in terms now, because I think one of the challenges for across the region, but to varying degrees, of course, is the whole affordability of service. So what is that like? I guess, do you find that people are complaining about cost, or, I mean, the reality is that people tend to have a finite amount of money and I guess have to figure out how to make it stretch in various ways.
So more than half of the Asian population are living with less than $1 per day. Mm-hmm. So that can give you an idea that although communication is important, but in the hierarchy of need, it might not be the most important.
Understood.
So it is very difficult for an household to take the decision to even though if they have the handset, to use it broadly when they have to figure out what to eat for the day or other basic needs.
Absolutely. That is such a critical point. Something that just crossed my mind as well. What is the literacy levels like in Haiti? Because since one was said that, I guess, Creole is the mother tongue, that is a predominant language. What is literacy like?
So a lot of have been done recently, but we still have a very large the illiteracy is quite high. But I would say that it is a tricky, because even some of the people that have not been to school, never been to school, some of them has been receiving mobile handset from their smartphone from their family based in the US, and the family, for example, send them money to buy internet services on a per day or per week basis,
right.
And they have been using that for with WhatsApp, for example, to have access to use internet for in this context, to send voice to family and friends in the US, so that they can stay connect. So this is interesting when we are talking about illiteracy, to see the usage that has been taking over, for example, with applications such as WhatsApp and others.
Interesting indeed. And I think that is something I guess I had not thought of before, because here it is that as much as we think about literacy being important for internet use, because you're reading websites and all the text and the content, but there are workarounds, so to speak, in the sense, as you rightfully say, that actually just being able to use your voice and to send voice notes or whatever is probably even more effective in those circumstances. And so in some instance is not necessarily an undue barrier to people.
Yes, and this is interesting, because when we are talking about illiteracy, it is important to take into account all the aspect regarding usability.
Right.
When you are designing an app, you need to take into account, at least in the case of Haiti and other developing country, you need to take into account this large population and make sure the way that you are going to build your application is going to be such that those large number of users will have access, and will even with this kind of barrier will have the opportunity to get access to the service. And I think it is really important for us and other marginalized community.
Absolutely. And as you were talking, and I gather though that because of what Transversal does, because I gather that you build apps and you are doing various other services, trading and so on, you probably even have a greater awareness and sensitivity to some of these issues, certainly from a Haiti perspective.
That's interesting, and this is one of the lessons that we have learned. We start building app and fintech services after the earthquake in 2010, for customers like Digicel, Care, Catholic Relief Service, and UNDP. And this is when we realize certain things. For example, we designed our first app using shortcode, and we kind of see how difficult it was for people with low literacy to have access to our service.
Right.
And then and also for authentication, they have to use a PIN, to authenticate themselves, or to authorize the transaction. And it was so very difficult. And we start thinking about a new way, to make the service accessible to them, make it easy, for them to use the service. And not only for the end user, but also for the merchants as well, because some of the merchants they don't know how to read, and that when we design an Android app, and so that our POS now is an Android app with a lot of pictures, make it easy for both for the beneficiaries and the merchants to use the service. And then, for example, instead of using the PIN code to authenticate for the beneficiary to have access to the service, we just take a picture of the ID as a way to authenticate the transaction. So those are some of the things that we have taken into account in the way that we design our services, and to make sure that the most vulnerable people, those who didn't have the chance to go to school, still can have access to this technology and benefit of the internet.
Understood. So, granted that Transversal was started post the earthquake, what is it like to be an entrepreneur in Haiti currently?
That is an interesting question. We started in 2005 and in doing training and offering networking services to the ISPs and other important operators in Haiti. And then after the earthquake, we get into the development of apps and building custom-based application for customer base in Haiti and outside of Haiti, and building the Merchant Pro electronic voucher system, which is a software as a service platform for fintech and ed distribution. So for us as an entrepreneur, we discover very early that we need to start with what we have. You know, that mean this company was built with $500. That was it. Because it is today so difficult to have access to finance in Haiti. If you are a startup and you go to the bank, and you say that you are going to build app, they just don't necessarily understand this kind of intangible assets.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. If you say that you have a buildings with a very large building in this particular street, they can easily put a value on it. But if you say that I have this excellent idea that I'm going to build this app, and I will be able to sell it to X amount of users, and this is this kind of innovative services that we are going to do with it. It is more difficult, for them to comprehend, to understand that, and it will be very, very difficult to find money. And so we start with our own money, which is at this time $500, and most of the entrepreneur in the tech scene that I know, they start like this with seed money from friends and family, not from the financial structured financial sector. And this is something that we, quite frankly, we will have to as a society to think about, to make sure that our young people who have excellent idea can pursue their dream and build on those ideas to create opportunities, to create job, to create opportunities for the younger generation.
Definitely. So, question, in terms of if one wanted to start building outside of the issue with financing, how easy is it to register a building, to pay taxes, those sorts of admin things where you have to interface with the government?
To be frank, there have been some interesting initiative recently, but we still have a lot to do because the bureaucracy is so strong that it is still, I should admit, it is still very difficult, to set up a business, to have all the necessary paper to open a bank account and to operate and to pay taxes. So we still have a lot to do in terms of make it easy for someone with an ID to translate that in a real business up and running.
Okay. So I guess though, for someone who's outside of Haiti, who wants to do business with Haiti, what are some key steps you would recommend that they take?
So the first thing is that to get a feeling about the local situation, the culture. If they can come and visit, that would be great. Right. Haitians are so welcoming. It just seems a little bit biased, but as I'm Haitian, but I've heard a lot of people saying that as well.
Right.
So it is not just my point of view. So Haitians are really very nice people, welcoming people, kind of and loving people. And I would highly recommend someone who would like to invest in Haiti to come and see and have a feeling, immerse in the culture and have a feeling of what it looks like to deal from a day-to-day basis with the potential customers. I would say, despite the challenges, there are a lot of opportunities in Haiti, as we have seen with company like Digicel, who have established recently in Haiti, and I think it is a good, a very good model they can look at, and in terms of despite the issues, despite the challenges, the opportunities are there.
Okay, there are two questions I want to ask those. One of them, let's probably talk about I guess, to understand the culture, but can you give us some sort of hints as to some of the differences that might exist between, let's say, the Haitian culture or the Haitian business culture versus that, let's say, in the US, or what you might have experienced engaging with international companies and organizations? So
I think when you're dealing and this is my general point of view, you'll find that maybe a North American company might be more structured. They put more resources, and the organization are usually more structured. But I would say this has to see with the level of growth of the average Haitian businesses. So that would be one observation. The other is in terms of the environment. If you compare Haiti and other market, you will have to take into consideration all the infrastructure side of things. That mean thinking about your electricity, having backup for internet services. So those might be a challenge. Those might be challenge in the context of Haiti when you compare it to other markets.
Okay. Understood. And you mentioned about opportunity, so we might as well touch on that. I guess first, so are you seeing any sort of tech-related or tech business-related trends in Haiti?
So, yes, a couple of them. And one is in the fintech scene has been boiling recently, if I may say. And this has to do with a couple of initiatives. The first one is the establishment of the first co-working spaces. We have at least 4 to 5 co-working spaces. So I think it is very important because young people now, they can have access as relatively at an affordable price to a co-working space where the electricity and internet is not an issue. I think it is very important. This is the first thing. The other is the establishment of incubator and accelerator program. One of them is Banj, who has been very active in the last 2 years with partnership with Google through Google Launchpad, which give them access to best practices, to experiences with other accelerators in Latin America, in Europe, in Asia, in North America. This is priceless. And also other initiative has been taking place, like the initiative Stéphane Bruno, named after our dear friend Stéphane Bruno, who passed away in 2016. So what we have been trying to do is to continue the work that he has been doing in the tech scene, in the fintech, to attract more young people to develop their app, to basically tackle important issues regarding access to financial services. And from that initiatives, we have tens of startups who have emerged, in disciplines related to, I talk about fintech, but healthcare and transportation and other interesting area.
Understood. So one of the things is a bit of an aside. There seems to be quite a few tech-related events in Haiti. I noted that there was a tech summit recently. I think there might be a few others later in the year. And I sometimes wonder about the tech summits. They're wonderful when they happen, but you wonder what is the longer-term impact and whether or not it's just a standalone event, and therefore, is there any improvement that happens? What are the true results and the true benefits? I don't know if you have any thoughts about that, and why Haiti is so attractive for these types of events.
Okay, this is a very important question, because I was 2 days ago at the Haiti Tech Summit, where I had I was part of a panel on education, entrepreneurship, and infrastructure challenges. Mm-hmm. And when I was asked this question by a representative from Forbes magazine, just about what you say, and this is my answer, and this is the exact answer that I gave. Event like the IT Tech Summit, when I first heard about this event, I thought about two things. The first one is it is as a platform to connect Haiti and the tech scene outside of Haiti, North America, mm-hmm. Europe. It is important. Think about it. People from Airbnb, from LinkedIn, and other, Facebook, Google, and last year we have the CEO of Twitter, yes, coming to Haiti. This is very important, and this is priceless. And the first edition we have Ben Horowitz coming to Haiti, so that this can help send the right signal, despite the usually negative narrative, mm-hmm. about Haiti. Disaster, political turmoil. Yes, we can have a good thing to say about Haiti, and interesting things are happening. Yeah, so this is the first one. The second thing why I think it is very important it is a good way to connect Haiti with her daughters and sons living outside of Haiti. We
Okay.
have more than 5 million people directly from Haiti or born from parents from Haiti living in the States and in Canada and in France. And I feel that the event like ICTTech Summit is a way to help them reconnect with the country, at least those who are involving in the tech scene, to come to Haiti and to see what is happening and see how they can give back to their country, to their community. Because it's one thing to complain about the brain drain, etc., etc. If we look at the larger picture, maybe we have been trying hard to change the current political situation linked to stability. But in the meantime, what can we do to convince Haitian in the diaspora to come back to their country, because it is also their country, to contribute in a positive way? So for me, if you are looking at the global picture of those events, I would say personally, as long as they can help achieving those two, at least two objectives, and for me it is very important. And now, if you look at the positive side effect of that, the first incubator that we had, Bunch, partnership with Facebook Developer Cycle, partnership with Google, and none of those would have been possible without IT Tech Summit, without people like Ashstein, without people like and team, without people like Macalin. All those people are contributing today, Christine Souffrant, to make sure that this event, as she said, this event is a 13-year commitment. We have this year, it was the third edition, and let's push together and have more initiative like that to put the light on Haiti in a positive way and have more contribution from our brothers and sisters outside of the country, and see what economic growth can we get from those initiatives.
Understood. And just pivoting a little bit, I just want to focus on the ICT Association. Can you give me some insight into the association, what its focus is, how many members it has, and probably some of the activities and initiatives key activities and initiatives that it might be seeking to pursue?
Thank you for this question once again. The AHTIC is, in French, is Association haïtienne pour le développement des technologies de l'information et de la communication. The association has been created in 2005 with the idea of, technology is there. It can be used. It should be used as a way for economic growth, both for the company, the private sector, having the public sector more efficient, and also the individual, day-to-day users. So to the end, to achieve our objectives, we have been trying to create partnership. We are acting like a glue between all the stakeholders in the ICT ecosystem in Haiti. Our members are from the telco industries, from the financial sectors, from academic, from association of users, and so it is from students at the university. So it is diverse, and we have created interesting partnership with also not only local, such as Internet Society chapter in Haiti, the sponsoring organization of the local CCTLD.HT, but also with regional organizations like LACNIC, the Latin American Caribbean Network Information Center, and other regional organizations. For instance, we had this excellent initiative with the Latin American and Caribbean Network Information Center as part of the ICT Goes Global initiative, which we call the ICT cluster. The goal is to help reinforce the internet infrastructure by helping the internet exchange point. The internet exchange point has been created in 2008 and as part of a joint initiative by AHTIC and other local institutions, and we had some help from Packet Clearinghouse, but most importantly from Network Startup Resource Center based at the University of Oregon. And today, after almost 10 years, we are at more than 2 gig of traffic, aggregated traffic, and we welcome a lot of content delivery networks, CDN, like Google, Akamai, Facebook, Cloudflare, and we host as well a copy of Fwood as part of the RISES initiative with LACNIC, and we host as well one server of .ht and a node from Packet Clearinghouse and other content. For us, it is very important because we are bringing closer the big content to the Haitian users to make the internet more robust and more reliable in a context of natural disaster every year in Haiti.
Absolutely. And the security of the internet and maintaining the integrity of the internet is so important, especially as our economies and our societies as a whole depend even more and more on the internet for basic operations.
Sure.
So I don't know if I caught it if you mentioned it. So is there any sort of big initiatives that the association is focusing on now?
So our most important project is the exchange point, the management of the exchange point, right. And we are trying to look at this one as a model in terms of management, in terms of bringing various competitors together for the greater good of the internet in Haiti, to create and to contribute to other projects. For example, we have been in touch with the World Bank about a national optical fiber backbone, right. A neutral facility that could be used by all the operators and managed by a neutral entity. It is very important because today we have been seeing a lot of duplication in terms of infrastructure. Every operator is building its own national backbone, and for us, this duplication is not necessarily a good thing because someone is going to pay for this investment, and it is going to be the end user. So if we can have neutral infrastructures with robustness, with fault-tolerant infrastructure that can be used, and I'm talking about optical fiber, but not only, I'm talking also about other passive infrastructure like tower. This would be a good thing for the reliability of internet service, the robustness of the service, but also in terms of, you look at in terms of cost of the service for the end user, it will be very important. So at AHTIC, we are trying to get on the same table all the stakeholders to discuss about those issues and to show them, we have been doing that for the exchange point, and yes, we are available to help in terms of management, in terms of governance of those infrastructure.
Okay. All right, so I guess we beginning to wind down now. So just a few more questions. You started to mention them earlier on in terms of challenges. I think one of them was in terms of electricity, the stability of the electricity, and therefore the need for companies to probably have secondary power, access to secondary power. But what might be some of the other challenges that you think Haiti needs to address to improve the ICT landscape there?
So I talk about the first one, which is the infrastructure, both internet infrastructure, optical fiber for national backbone, electricity are very important piece that we need to look into. The other challenge is, and this is from the government. We from the public sector, we need a clear signal, in terms of strategy. The government need to lead all this effort, to use technology as a tool for economic development, for economic growth. And for that to happen, we need a clear signal, clear strategies. This is where we want to go in 10 or 20 years. And this is what we want to put in place to facilitate that to happen. Even if the investment is not going to come from the government, but it needs to send clear signal,
right,
so that we can attract investment in the area that we need. I will take just one example. People are complaining, for example, in rural area that service are not available. There is no network in some area. So now, when you look at it, it is an economic decision from an operators to go or not to go to this area,
right,
because it will be an investment. They'll look after return on investment. If it doesn't make sense for them to go there, they will not go there. But again, the government can say that, this is the kind of incentive that I'm about to offer to you guys in order for you to go there, even though, from pure economic perspective, it doesn't make sense. And then they will be able, based on those incentives, to go or not to go. And if they still decide not to go, the government can put in place like some community network, or do some tenders for operators to go, new operators to go in those areas, because the established ones doesn't feel they need to go there.
right.
So those are those kind of initiatives that I would think would send clear signals for people living in a rural area that feel currently very marginalized, because they kind of are outside of the development of ICT and internet.
Understood. Just another side question, because I guess it didn't come up before. What do you think is the percentage of the population that lives in what you consider the urban areas versus the rural areas?
It is probably, I don't have the exact figure. It is probably 60-40,
okay,
but I don't have the exact figure. Our census have been, the last one has been performed more than 20 years ago.
Wow.
There is the current one is underway, so we'll have better figures to share, hopefully in the next months.
Understood. And what do you believe are the strengths of the tech space in Haiti?
As I mentioned, we have a very young population, and the Haitian Lambda usually speaks Creole, French, and English or Spanish. For me, this is very interesting, and we can do a lot with this workforce if we put our act together.
Definitely. Yes, because certainly too there has been a sort of growing trend towards multilingualism, at least in the region as well. So yeah.
Exactly. And another thing that I like to mention is the fact, and this is I've discussed that in the beautiful island of Grenada the last days. In the Caribbean, if you look at it, the Caribbean, we have so much to offer in terms of contents. You know, you look at music, you look at sculpture, you look at paintings. We have a lot to offer. So we can do a lot to participate in this new economy, not just like, end users, not just consuming, but to build service, to put the contents, to build platform for people to get access to our service and monetize the service and translate this whole thing into economic growth, attracting money, attracting capital for the better good of our people, of our young population in our region.
Absolutely. And certainly, I do see that as an opportunity. I had written it down earlier to probably touch on content creation in Haiti because, as happens in so many of our islands, our countries here in the region, we have a large diaspora population who live, in Canada, the US, the UK for the English speaking Caribbean, I guess, the Netherlands and France for Haiti and those in the Dutch Caribbean. And they're looking for ways to stay connected with the region. So, matters related and opportunities related to content creation, I think, is an excellent way
Yes,
through which we can do that.
exactly. And if you look at it, and it is interesting, and we need to really stress on the fact that someone who for because of the current situations of our region, left Kingston to go to London, left Trini to go to Canada, or leave Haiti to go to Paris or Miami. They want to stay connected with what is happening in the region, to connect to the music and all the cultural stuff. So this is an opportunity for young people in our region to build a rich content for this population. Yeah, it
Absolutely.
is very important to do that, and our government need to see that as an opportunity. I don't have anything against textile or other traditional industries. It's just a matter of being, pragmatic, of being realistic about what is happening today at a global level, regarding internet content, and see it as a way for us to stay here, not just like consumer, but produce content. And I've seen some people here in Haiti, some young people living in the slum, working with some artists and put their content on the internet, and using that as a way to make money without going after the government to ask for a job, or to the private sector. They are doing their business like that without asking for permission. They are getting their money in US dollars, and they are happy about that. They learn from the internet. They use the internet as a tool to make money, and we need to reinforce that in our region.
Definitely. And Max, my final question, I guess within the next, let's say 3 to 5 years, what would be some of the changes or improvements that you'd like to see in the tech landscape in Haiti?
So in the next 5 years, I would like to see that we address the most important challenges regarding infrastructure, the national backbone is one of them. The electricity is another important one. I would like to see clear signals from the government that we need to go in this direction, and this is what we are doing to make sure, even though the money will not come exactly from us, but this is what we do in terms of creating the right environment to make it possible. And on another level, I would like to see a young startup company using the power of the internet to produce a solution for local solution, but that can be adapted to other market so that they can scale. And I would like to see as well our young population, regarding to what we have been just discussing, produce content. The power is in the content, and with the content that you produce, you as we are intelligent people, we can monetize them and get money from our brothers and sisters living abroad, and our other friends who love our cultures. So let's do that. And I really so excited about the future of not only Haiti but our region, to see how we will use the internet as a tool for economic development.
Well said. So, Max, on that note, I think I just want to thank you so much for just giving us some insight into Haiti. As we, I think, can all acknowledge, Haiti has had some very challenging times for quite some time. So just to know that there is a small but growing ICT environment, and hopefully one that is going to more fully develop, as you mentioned, in terms of content creation, that can be such a very quick way to really leverage some of the opportunities that technology does bring, which can then be the stepping stone for so many of the other opportunities, but also key drivers to be given the attention that they deserve. So thank you so much again for coming on the podcast.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that you took the time to connect and to have this discussion. Thank you very much.
That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to the ICT Pulse podcast. You can find links to some of the things we talked about on our website, ict-pulse.com. If you like this episode, please show your support by leaving us a review on iTunes, as it will help others find the show. You can email us at info@ict-pulse.com or drop us a note on our Facebook page, facebook.com/ICTPulse, or via Twitter @ICTPulse. We hope you'll join us again for our next episode. Take care.